Hi, welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Come in my living room.
Very nice.
We are streaming from one living room to the living room of the people who are watching us.
It's very cozy here. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
Nice to see you in person.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I would just a little bit present who is sitting here, and then we would directly jump into our conversation about your concrete artistic practices at the moment. I just had the pleasure to speak to Shermin Langhoff, Sasha Walz, and Marina Naprushkinova, who gave us a little bit impression of their daily work from cultural institutions, but also from artists not involved in cultural in institutional practices. And with you, I would like to speak a little bit more about independent artistic works. So, but first of all, next to me is Khaled Barakeh. He's a Berlin-based Syrian artist and cultural activist. His work often reflects the power structures in context of identity, culture, and history. He graduated from the Faculty of Fine Arts in Damascus and the Ständler Schule Art Academy in Frankfurt am Main. He had exhibitions, if I do now the list, it will be too long, but all around the globe in a lot of cities around the world. Since he lives now in Berlin, he founded a non-for-profit organization which is called Co-Culture. We will have the chance to talk a little bit about Co-Culture, what you do there, several initiatives, just to name Syrian Cultural Index, which is a platform. Perhaps we have the chance to talk about that. You're planning a Syrian biennial. Would be interesting to hear more about that. But all these projects are a little bit contextualized, frameworked by the challenges faced by displaced persons and artists especially, who are coming more from the Middle East, but also from Europe and beyond. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
And Ali Hassan, we already had today the chance to learn a little bit more about you as person. Ali Hassan, for those of you who just switched in, is musician, percussionist. He is a composer, a curator, and a creator of a lot of new projects here in Berlin. And today we would also talk a little bit about what you concretely do in Berlin. Sasha Walz just mentioned that you have also a common past. You already worked together with Sasha Walz and Guest. Would be interesting to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, yeah.
Great, let's start. What are you involved in at the moment? What are the challenges you are facing due to Corona, but perhaps not only due to Corona, also to sneak a little bit in your daily business? Khaled, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I have the two positions, the practitioner as an artist, but also the cultural manager as I founded the institution. So which part do you want? Because I can talk about either or, because every part has different challenges from the...
Let's start with the culture and then come to politics, or more, more broader topics.
Yeah. So, but you mean, do you want the challenges of me as an artist, or me as or us as an institution? Because it's two different. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would say starting by you as an artist, and then coming perhaps to also other artists with whom you're working, because you are a creator of projects and platforms, and then more institutional challenges you are facing.
Yeah, sure. I think we all know the challenges, or there was a lot of discourse around new artists arriving to a new place. In this specific case, Syrian artists arriving to Germany, not to talk about other also nations. So there's the challenges that face displaced person before even being an artist or not, that with everything comes with this. On top of this, there's the challenges that comes specifically when you lose your instrument, you lose your network, you have everything behind you, and you arrive to a new place where you don't understand its system, its language, how it functions. Even artistically, maybe you speak another language that it's appreciated where you are. It's not very Western-centric kind of point of view, but every nation has the different culture rooted in their history that is not related to the contemporary art world, how we understand it today in the Western world. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is Corona, right, which become a new lens that allow us to see things more in depth about challenges that we are facing. So I think Corona specifically, or the pandemic situation, it show how fragile the infrastructure of the art world is, because it couldn't even support even the people who's working in the institution, not to mention the artists, the target group themselves, right? So for me, to be honest, I have to say it was very productive time. It was very challenging to work from home and to not have connection with the team in the studio, and the whole efficiency, it was like reduced to 40% to 60%, because you have to do a lot of communication also about the work, and communication about the work, not necessarily the work itself. That creates challenges. But to be honest, the whole COVID situation, since the whole world kind of slowed down, it gave me more time to reflect, because I was so much in a, like almost like a hamster in a wheel, right? Like you have to run in this production kind of process all the time. The challenges I think that faced we are all confronted with today. Everything is cancelled. There's no exhibitions. There's no support. There's no financial support. There's no maintaining of artistic production as well. And this is, I think, very important. While, for example, now the government here in Germany focusing on supporting artists financially which is of course very, very important. But I think for most of the artists, or for most of us, what keeps us alive, of course, the financial aspect, but also our production, because it's so much who we are. Like this is right, because our production is not separate from our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, who we are as a core. And I think this is what the government is not focusing on at all, while focusing on maybe some financial support. And I don't really understand going on a train sometimes for like 40 minutes or 50 minutes with a small wagon, like full of people. How is that fine? And hosting, I don't know, exhibition or conference with people separate from each other, like meeting the hygiene, or the regulation health standard is not fine. I still don't understand this, like how they measure this, so the challenges, I think, in general, if I don't want to talk about myself, if I want to talk about artists I'm working with, I would say is all the exhibition is cancelled. If we talk about visual art, but not to mention also all the other aspects of films and music, and I'm sure Ali will talk a little bit about it. So all of this, it doesn't give us a purpose, because we need deadlines. We need as an artist, I mean, we need a project to work towards. We need a presentation of our work. We need a space to present our work. While everything is shut down, you feel almost trapped in your very small house, and you don't have something to look forward to. So the production mechanism, I think it gets kind of stuck because of the regulation that we have today. I will maybe mention a little bit later about the institution, but just to give also space to Ali to present his point of view.
Yeah, thank you very much. But this is also something Sascha Walz mentioned before, that now we have also the intellectual space to reflect on this hamster machine you just mentioned, right? That having next production, having a next production even bigger, and so on. That for me it would be interesting also to see what transformation the cultural production scene will have also with this experience now, that we reflect on perhaps the not so healthy situation before.
Yeah, I think you're asking me or
both of you, but
so I think it reflects a lot on, if we think, for example, the whole situation of not only producing, not only presenting the work, but also connecting with the audience that doesn't exist, or we try to make it like try to channel it through other platforms. It's still, I think, broken with the whole this like hamster kind of wheel, what I was mentioned of the production process. But for us, or at least as an institution, we tried to keep this going by keep creating a project that reflects and resonates on the with the situation that exists today, that exposed the difficulties, not the difficulties, the broken, I wouldn't say system, infrastructure we have. And to be more precise, just to make it less abstract, for example, the museum roles or institution, cultural institutions roles, or the funding systems that we have, or the funding purposes that we have today toward artists, it doesn't so much, I think it's still kind of turning around the art market. And I think it's so important today to create projects that support artists who do creative activism, who do socially engaged work, because COVID-19 put us in a situation where we all live more and more individual from each other, where our core kind of become thread. So if you walk in the street and you see someone, you kind of, go away from each other because, you feel you are threat and feeling threatened by others. And so our sense of understanding of community has been changed a lot. We are not a community anymore, and the definition of community, even with this, in this sense, I think it has been changed. So I think focusing as institution in this aspects to rethink of the post kind of pandemic situation, to recreate or rethink first what the community is, and reconnect us and with social engaged project is very important. I don't know if I answer your question or I tripped a little bit away, but yeah.
No, it's very interesting. I just bring Ali in. Khaled mentioned as well that he had now the time to concentrate more also on his projects or on his artistic work. For me, it would be interesting, would you say that people who challenged in their life much more challenging situations than just being alone at home at the moment, I reduce it to that point, can cope with the situation at the moment better and even have more, I don't know, space to concentrate now as the world is coming to a slower modus on their artistic work, or how would you perceive the...
I think from my perspective, like it's like diamonds, more pressure, more like become diamonds. So this time has been like really an important time for us to look exactly the purpose of maybe the art we wanted to give, or like at least what I want really to reach with my art, what I really want to produce. So in a time of a pandemic like this, it has been really like difficult for, as Khaled has covered it all, I would say, like from all the perspective, how it was hard time, how it is like really now uncertain exactly like what can we do, what cannot we do. But what I do feel that from my little group of friends, that everyone has like a little bit better aim into their own artistic visions, and to everyone like wanted, okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and there is not any more like random activities, So there's like everyone is like start to become like have a shape. Everyone has like start to have like kind of an identity. Everyone starts to have like their own really individual things. I do agree totally with Khaled that yes, now we are in this community sense, we don't have it anymore. But I will just like go back a little bit like to talk with Esra that it's I think it's a matter of patience a little bit, because now every one of us like is like a beautiful individual, strong artist, know exactly what he has or she has inside and what can be given into the community once we are able to communicate again. So this year, as an example, I had like this project Dream of Belonging. It has been really difficult for me. And like for Midhat also, like for Ksenia, for all the group as it was like a continue of We Belong to Music, where we wanted to do like really a community thing that we bring people to teach them dance and music together. To find a place and not to find a place, to put it on Zoom, to teach like online, to not teach online, okay, where to do, what to do. But the thing that it really, in a sense, we got close to each other in a new form. And that's what I feel. I think that it really has been incredibly beautiful, you know? That yes, we are still together, but we are not together, you know? And this is what we are in 2021, where we have to really like be a little bit like into the flow of our year. So this is like from my perspective, I see the...
Yeah, alone but not lonely.
Yeah, alone but not... Beautiful one, yes.
But also, I don't know if your question connected to artists and Syrian artists in exile or in Germany or in Berlin, or it's general about art and culture. Because while I agree with Ali with what he mentioned, also let's not forget the fragile groups that have different challenges and problems. Maybe we are a little bit more privileged being here now. For example, if we talk about another group of artists, if we talk about the same group of artists, of Syrian artists who doesn't live necessarily in Germany, but they live in somewhere around Syria, in camps, or in Syria as well, we talk about complete different set of challenges as well. If we talk about other artists, even here in Germany, who also maybe facing some difficult times and not necessarily have the maybe again privilege or the luxury that Ali or I have, the creative luxury and not anything else to you know be productive and kind of push ourselves. Because I know a lot of people, they even quitting art, or they want to have the life challenges that comes with Corona that put them in front of really hard decision about how to continue, or is it worth to continue. And that's what I was trying to mention when I said that the whole pandemic situation becomes lens that expose all the deep problems that we haven't come across before.
Yeah, if we talk about more international landscape, would you say that the current situation is enforcing also translocal cooperation, as it is via digital tools easier in a way to connect, but at the same time you need all this technical infrastructure. At the same time, you cannot just move. When it comes to international solidarity, or also to work together cross-border, did that come more to a standstill at the moment, or it's becoming more? I don't have the feeling for that, because in the beginning, during the first lockdown light in Germany, I had the feeling there was a lot of international collaboration starting and creative ideas how to work also artistically with the situation. But now, as the situation is coming already to the 12th or 3rd month, I have a less enthusiastic perception. What about you two when it comes to international collaboration?
Yeah, so first of all, let's remember, like, there's a lot to talk about here. So I know we have short time, so I will try to make it very short. Because first of all, let's remember, before talk about art and culture, we are human being. So, and we are heavily affected by the situation, all of us, right, in a psychological level. Living in this situation, it's not how we as a human designed, like it's not our genetic code not to be connect with others and, you know, live in this sense of community. So, and to kind of, I think with the first lockdown, we still kind of, you know, like kind of in the peak of this solidarity, and let's do something together and collective healing, and let's leave no one behind and all of this. And then you get tired. Like I had long time depression, and it brought back that memory, and it brought back this opposite. And I actually want to talk about it in the stages as well, because we all the time try to cover this
true.
and push it away and just think of our professional life or career, but we are not professional side. We are specifically as artists, it's so much, as I mentioned, connected to our core, right, being an artist. So with this in mind, I think it has been a tough year in general, even for those who were like lucky to have big houses and a secure place and not suffering of lockdown. Because let's also not forget about those who live in the same room where their studio is. If you are a painter or if you are a musician, you have to work where you live. And really this is like killing for freelancers, which is most of the artists are, and talking about it worldwide, not only here. So there's this aspect of the human aspect of being in a difficult situation, which a year passed, you will feel tired and tired and tired. And I think we all kind of were manipulating ourselves. It will be another month, another 2 months, another 3 months, and I think most of the institution didn't want to make this major shift of strategy and planning to step into digitalization. I hope not, or thanks God they didn't yet, because I really, from the bottom of my heart, I hate the whole shift of, the digital world, and let's rethink of, I mean, let's use it, let's be smart and use it as a tool and the infrastructure that exists. It creates many new platforms like the Clubhouse, where now, for example, you can host for zero cost, you can host like something like this, but in a different sense, with your friends, and you don't know how many, sometimes 6,000 followers or whatever, or at the other platforms as well. So what I'm trying to say that, of course, it's tools that we can use it to recreate or to create and rethink of communities and of solidarities, of coming together, but also it has, I think, its negativity when it comes to, for example, I'm someone who's, I want to feel, I'm for materiality, I want to see the artwork, I want to sense it. I believe in power of objects, and I'm just so tired of screens. I feel like I'm living in a ghost city. In my house, I just talk to people. I shift from work to my mobile phone to connect with my family, to know what's happening in Syria, to be politically involved, then Zoom meeting, then teaching, then what, and then at the end you are just by your home, and then thinking of solidarity. Of course, it's very, very important. And sorry if I make it a little bit long. And I think one thing. There's nothing to like about the pandemic situation, but there's a few things that I like about it. One of these aspects is actually that
But before you say what you like about it, I would like to stay with this topic of vulnerability and the human aspect of the pandemic, and then to the end I come to the positive thing, to have something positive to go out with, okay? So let's bring in Ali with the topic of vulnerability. Khaled told us about the psychological aspects of the pandemic. Will it become more normal to talk about our vulnerabilities now, or is there still not the room really to share these parts of life?
I think it's totally okay to share these things. Like the one who didn't go in a weak situation cannot really feel the strong situation. If you are not sick, you will not feel or like understand or like appreciate to be healthy. So definitely, like we all, from my side or perspective, my psychological health was number one priority for me in the 2020, because I know that once I fall, I will fall, like everything will fall again. So take care, be a little bit like calm, hold on, look exactly where you are, who you are, then start like to work and like start to create, start to do like art, I highly appreciate what Khaled was saying, or like what he mentioned, because this is a very a blind spot. No one really speak about it, and this is like the main important thing if we want really to speak about a healthy society, if we want to really like work about a better future, a better like city, a better whatever thing. The health, psychological wise, number one, then the mental and the physical health, is a very, very much like needed and really you know, if you are not well health wise, you cannot do anything. And this is what I would say, like, for everyone. Look after yourself. Go out from everything like makes you go down, and just like stuck with everything that makes you up. Hang out with the good people will rise you up. So, and this is something I tried to use in 2020. And you know, like it's very hard, like for us, for 2020, 2021 now, with all the COVID, the solidarity thing is super important. Without solidarity, I was in that place. I crossed the sea. I feel the people who want to cross the sea at night. I was in Greece. That's why I feel the people who's in Greece. And from my inner thing, I would be able to do everything I can do. But at the moment now, everything is happening is not in our side. So that's why I think that very important that we are together now, sitting, speaking openly about everything, and keep our societies open. It's really important point in this like festival to make us like and stepping more trusted and more like sure, and to the next step where we are going.
Yeah, this is also the reason why we decided to do the festival anyway. Normally, of course, this was planned as a big gathering, a big international networking, bringing together. Now, of course, we have also the feeling that the privileged are now sitting here and we cannot bring in the people we wanted to invite and so on. But nevertheless, that it's important that we have these channels open, that we, what you just said, to have channels where we can empower each other or have at least good vibration from each other, right? This would be also a question, if we have at the moment people watching our channel, would you have like concrete, you know, in rewriting it's also about the voices that are not so much heard. Would you bring in concrete advices like which music would you like, which musician would you like to state here to say, hey, hear his or her music, or which book you would say, this is an author not so much known, but he or she is really great, to bring in a little bit some concrete people you would like to mention. And then we will talk about the positive things I didn't forget.
No, never mind. The positive also was connected to the idea of solidarity. But you mean like in general, like from, or like specifically connected to the region, or like because there's like long list of amazing musicians, writers, the books, and so.
I mean, like the last month when you were alone at home and perhaps also sometimes a little sad and you had enough from the situation. Were there a book you were just grabbing and say, afterwards I felt better, or the music you heard, or whatsoever, the film or a discussion you followed?
Is it okay not to make it as colorful as you describe it? Because when I feel like down, I just feel down. Okay. I just go dive with my downness. To be honest, I took the last year, I really didn't have time. We were very, very busy at Co-Culture and at the studio. It has been an incredible year for us in terms of production. And on the other side, when I come back home, I just really dive deep into myself and get more and more sad and depressed and connected to my emotion, because either we are in a being phase where we are in love, depressed, in grief, whatever, or in the doing phase when we are working, going out, meeting friends. And I try to shift all the time between the doing and the being, not to be stuck into this capitalistic, again, wheel where I have to produce, and being vulnerable and like I am now, and saying like, yes, of course, like I don't want you to see me as only my production, but see me as also you know, like I don't know, like as a person with a lot of complexity and emotions and sadness and happiness or whatever. So I didn't really have time to read that much or watch films. I just come back from work deadly tired. I just want to eat and sleep. I would say music that I was listening to, it was helping me mentally a lot. It's Lebanese singer called Hiba Tawaji. For me, she was like part of my healing process. There's also another musician, Norwegian, specific song called House by the Sea. It's also made me, like, whenever I find myself in a hard situation, it kind of levitate my mood or to a better place. Sorry if it wasn't the prideful, colorful answer, but that's the truth.
No, it's better like that. Do you want to add?
For me, I rediscovered Mozart. Like it was 2020 was like a year when I really rediscovered Mozart. It was really interesting that Tiergarten here in the near, really beautiful park in the city, and I was like kind of trying to take a walk. Usually there, like maybe every 1-2 days I try to walk there, especially like with these long trees and to hear the birds, because maybe this is like something I so much like my main hearing or like inspiration is like birds and like forest and stuff. So this led me to Mozart somehow. Don't ask me how, but like I just like started to listen to Mozart and I started to discover his music and like this intelligence in his music, even so that not coming from a classical background, I never played it even. So this year was like kind of, Mozart was like together with me in 2020. And according to books, I would go to last one, it was from Kafka. The Transformer, no, you know it, the Transformation, I think it's called, yes.
Die Verwandlung in German,
when you read this like book, I never wrote it before, and like you know how bad this like Gregory's life was, you know, so it was like really kind of dark, but like in a way that it brought me in a new like door in my mind, that it really like it made me feel that our life is good, you know, our life is really good. So that was like kind of a way that to balance myself and like
so you go darker and darker,
you know,
to
so
make
like
the reality less
thing, you know, like just go
brighter,
to this, so you feel like okay, so you appreciate what you have. So yeah.
Psychological strategy.
I think we're all playing some, no? Like all the time to survive because everyone now talk about the health kind of, passing this period where we all still alive, which is of course like the most important thing. But is it? Like what kind of life we will have where we all gonna be traumatized in 1 year, or there's new generation or kids staying at home, or so of course we will be like healthy, hopefully physically, but also mentally it will bring a lot of issue. And I think we all develop consciously and consciously different strategies. One of it is like this invitation, which I think was at the beginning of the first lockdown. Let's read books, let's attend to opener, let's listen to more music. I was like, let's not do. Let's exactly not do this, because it's crazy. Like, of course, I understand people want to be entertained in this time. They just wanted to be past. But I was like, no, actually, sorry?
To not go crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Perhaps?
Not to go crazy. But I think, with the first lockdown, I was like, yeah, great. Let's just slow down and dig deep. And like last at the end of like with the peak of the winter, I was like, let's not do any more dig deep. Let's actually go the other way around, because it being tiring as well. And that's also connected to what you were saying. Also, if I want to come back to the topic of solidarity, which is very, very important, I think. And I'm seeing this shift as well of institution coming together. I mean, the festival as well, it's a great initiative. I love the title. It's not writing the future, but rewriting the future, because the pandemic forced us to think differently, and we have to think differently. I think one thing, something else I like about the pandemic, not what I want to mention, but something else I liked about it as well, is that put the whole world in an emergency level. Like, so we all kind of which, like, as Syrian, it made me feel good because that was our situation since 10 years. And it put everyone in, and also it shifted kind of the media focus from us. So it gives us a break to breathe, because there was sometimes not necessarily the good media attention, but you know that the whole refugee crisis, which I call it European crisis, was all the time the media was focusing on this, because of course it was also, it brought back the national state, like many questions, right, with people arriving to here. But so anyway, so what I was trying to say, that it puts the whole situation in an urgent level that requested or required creative solution of solidarity, because we know that if we leave one person with like inflicted with COVID or whatever, it will, you know, like it comes to us. So really, like, there should be this level of solidarity, understanding that we all live or we all in the same boat, if we either we survive together or not. And I think it's also important with the solidarity, because as I mentioned, also the community, redefining the communities, because we are not tied to our local community anymore, right? Like, especially with the digital world, we are connected to several communities. So understanding the solidarity from this perspective as well, that what you are doing, what I am doing, what Ali, what everyone other institution doing, is all connected. And we maybe talked about it, if you remember, also, like, we're also coming up with ideas of how solidarity can, this horizontal solidarity, how it should be.
Yeah. Before coming to an end, as you mentioned the Syrian situation, I want to give you also the chance to give us an idea. You will, during the festival, have a workshop tomorrow, right?
I had a workshop. I just came from the...
Yeah, it's not tomorrow. You just had it.
Yeah, I just had it today.
What was the workshop about?
It was about image importance in political movements, and from documentation to use it for reaching out the ethicality of victim presentation or representation in the media. Yeah, so it was around image creation in political movements.
All right, I wanted to just invite some of the people watching us, but it's over. It's for
over,
the next
sorry.
time. But on the website coculture.de, you can discover the work and the platform Khaled Barakeh is developing. And on the website www.alihassan.berlin, you can discover Ali Hassan's profile and the projects he is doing. I wanted to talk with you normally about the bibliothèque you are doing, about so many projects you are doing. And normally we plan the festival with a Dabke community session in here or somewhere else, but not this time, perhaps next time. Inshallah. We will come together soon. Thank you very much for joining us
here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Take care and see you soon.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.